Hey y'all, I'm Nia Nix and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are not, welcome back. So as you can tell by the title, this video is going to be a quick version of my labor story, which my story really isn't long at all. So it's been quite some time since I've uploaded a video. So many things have happened since then. My last video, I don't know if I mentioned it or not. I did get married December 19th, 2020. And we now have this look. Really? This little guy who will be 2 months old on April 4th. So basically on February 2nd, I woke up and I went to the chiropractor. Yeah. So my whole pregnancy, I was going to the chiropractor on Mondays and Wednesdays. And February 2nd, I said, I need today to be the day. Mind you, February 2nd, I was 41 weeks. So he was late. So February 2nd, I got up, got dressed, did my usual, went to the chiropractor where I did some curb walking, some marching. I don't think I did any squats that day because the session before then she had me do squats and I was like, no, I don't want to do those no more. So we did all that. I don't think I did anything after that. I think I came home. So I think everything was fine that day, but I was like, I need him out because one, I wanted him to be born on February 2nd because 2/2/22 just, it was cute. So I wanted that day, but I knew he wasn't gonna come on that day. So after that, I was just like, if it's an even number, I'll take it. Sounds crazy, but I do not like odd numbers. So I went home, sat on my ball, and I was, you know, falling asleep. I said, you know what? Let me take a nap. Let me take a nap and then I'll get back to it. Took a nap, woke up, and I think, you know, had dinner, the usual stuff. No contractions, no nothing. However, I had lost bits and pieces of my mucus plug within that day, several times that day. So then that around 2:30 in the morning on the 3rd, I woke up because I had some slight cramping and I just couldn't go back to sleep. And I was like, okay, I'm hoping this is what I think it is. I'm not going to say that it's not because I need it to be what I think it is. So I was like, okay. I stayed up from 2:30 a.m. to 6 when my husband was supposed to go to work. And his alarm went off and I rolled over and I was like, you can't go to work today. Because I was like, if he doesn't come today, he's going to come tomorrow. And I just need you to be here because there's no way that I'll be able to drive anywhere with the pain that I've been in. And now that I think about it, the pain really wasn't even like super terrible. In the moment, it was. And it's also because I didn't know what to expect. My first job, so people are always like, oh, it's just like really bad period cramps. And like, I guess because my period cramps aren't terrible. So I'm like, maybe it'll be like what everybody else experienced. So I told him, you can't go to work. And he started freaking out. But he's just like, oh, like this is really about to happen. And I was the same way because I'm like, I won't say the whole pregnancy, but towards the end, I was like, what if I don't know I'm in labor? Like, what if I end up having him at home because I don't know that I'm in labor? Yeah, that's exactly what my mom went to. Like, it just started doing all this extra thinking and stuff. I just pretty much went all day with contractions. That day I had an appointment with my midwife, and that was at 11. So I went in, and I had a cervix check one time because I said I didn't want to keep getting checked because it's not necessary. He'll come when he's ready to come. So that day I was like, you know what? Let me just let them check and see how far along I am. I was like, okay, hopefully I'm far enough that they'll let me just stay here and I won't have to go back home. No. They checked me, I was only 4 centimeters. So they sent me home. I came home. They sent me home and they were like, you need to eat and rest. And I was like, how am I supposed to rest? Mind you, I hadn't been to sleep yet. So 2:30 in the morning on the 3rd, I'm still awake at my appointment. It's 11 o'clock. So they're like, we need you to rest, sleep, because when it's time, you're not going to be able to sleep. In my mind, I'm like, obviously it's already time because I can't sleep. So we get some food, go home. I try to eat, didn't really eat much because I couldn't. Tried to sleep, couldn't. Every time I would doze off, I'd get a contraction and I just couldn't sleep. The only comfortable position was literally having my ball on top of the bed and me leaning over on top of it. And I'm like, I can't sleep like this. How am I supposed to get rest like this? I can't. I tried to lay down, didn't work. Tried to sit up, didn't work. That's literally the only position that was comfortable. So because I couldn't sleep, I'm just up and down, up and down. I had to take like 3 baths because I needed some kind of relief. And that worked for the moment, but then when I would get out, back to it. So that kept happening. I lost more of my mucus plug, and then next thing I knew, I had my bloody show. And I said, it's time. It's time. So I sent a picture of it to my midwife because I was like, I don't know if this is what that is, but I'm assuming, I'm hoping. So I sent it to my midwife, and she's like, yes, that's what it is. It's almost time to have a baby. Cool. I'm excited now because I'm like, great, this is almost over. Lies. We went to, I think I made it to about 10 o'clock. Was it 10 o'clock? Or was it 11 o'clock? I think it was 10 o'clock. And she said, let's meet at the birthing center at 10:45. So I said, great. But I was still hurting. So I said, I'm gonna go sit in the tub until it's time to go. So I did that, and I get out, because that time it seemed like it went by so fast. I get out, I throw something on, and we head to the birthing center. The whole time we're riding there, it's about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes from my house. So we ride there, and I'm just having contraction after contraction. And I was just like, I better not have this baby in this car. I can't. We get to the birthing center, and one of the midwives comes out, and she's got all her stuff in her hands, like she's prepared. And my husband's like, is this in case I had to have the baby in the car, or in case she had to have the baby in the car? And she's like, yes, because we've had it happen before. And I'm like, ooh, glad it wasn't me, because my husband would have freaked out. If I thought he was freaking out when I told him he couldn't go to work, he was definitely going to freak out if I would have had this baby in his car. So we go upstairs, and they're like, okay, we want you to walk back and forth. So at this time, well, rewind. So me and the midwife agreed we'd meet at 10:45. I text my doula, and I told her, hey, look, we're about to head there at 10:45. I can't wait any longer. I don't know if I text her. I don't think I text her. I think my husband texted her. either way, we text my doula, told her 10:45 we're going to the birthing center. So she met us there, and when we got there, the midwife said, okay, we're gonna have you do some walking, some squatting, you know, bring him down some more. And yeah, so I did that a couple times, not a lot, because I just couldn't. Every time I would get a contraction, it was just like stopping, painful, whatever. So then I get in the shower. I sit on the ball in the shower. It felt great. Like, that's probably the best relief that I had in I don't even know how long. So I sat in the shower. Then the shower started getting cold, so I was like, okay, let me get out. After that, I think, when I think about it, it seems like it all went so fast, but in the moment, it seems like it was going so slow that my mind is literally right now not remembering what happened. But I know for the most part, got in the shower. By this point, my water had not broken at all, just consistent contractions. So, had to keep using the bathroom, did some squats, I don't even know what they're called, like, really, with the rope kind of thing. Not really a rope, it's kind of like a scarf, but it's really long, whatever. Hung it on the door, did some deep squats with that. Talk about pressure and pain. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. So I did that maybe 2 or 3 times, and I was just like, I couldn't do it. So after that, you know, my husband, my doula, they're all like, you can do it. You just got to keep doing it so you can bring him down, and then he'll be here and you'll be fine. No. I told them, like, when my husband told me you're doing great, I said, it's easy for you to say. Like, you're not doing it. But, like, I wasn't being rude. It was just, like, it hurt. So, really, I didn't want nobody talking to me. So, I did that. Then I got in the birthing pool. Sat in the pool for a while. Originally, they didn't want me to get in the pool because they were like, it's gonna slow you down. I don't want you to get in the pool unless it's really like time to push him out or time for him to come out. But then I was just like, okay, I think it's like, I feel like it's time. It has to be time. So we get in, or I get in the pool, and I'm sitting there, and for the first time since 2:30 that morning, by this time it's like after 12. So since 2:30 on the 3rd, I hadn't slept. So I get in the pool and I start dozing off. I don't know how long I was like falling asleep for, but it was like just enough to where I would wake up and I'm like, okay, I can fight through this a little bit. And then I doze off again, and I was like, okay. So the midwife comes in and she's like, okay, let me check you, see how far you are. But I couldn't. It hurt so bad that I couldn't stand up to get out of the pool. I couldn't let her check me. I couldn't do anything. It was just a lot. So I eventually got out because the water was like cold and I couldn't sit in cold water. So I eventually get out, get on the bed, let her check me, and I'm now 7 centimeters. And I'm pretty sure that's when we realized I had a cervical lip, which is a piece of my cervix that was not dilating, I believe. So it was kind of blocking, like he couldn't come through because there was a piece of my cervix in the way. And that's why it was taking so long. So yeah, we realized that. I still don't even remember what time my water broke or when it really broke. I'm pretty sure it broke when I went to use the bathroom, but I couldn't tell. I didn't know if I was peeing or if that was my water breaking. And the other midwife, Jenny, came in. Excuse me. Jenny came in and she's like, let's have a baby. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I was exhausted. my husband was exhausted as well because he hadn't slept that whole time either. So when he woke up and he was supposed to go to work at 6 a.m., he hadn't slept since then. So she's like, let's have a baby. I'm like, thank God. I wanted to deliver in the pool so bad, but I was just like, it's not gonna work. Let me deliver wherever I can deliver, because at this point, I'm in pain. I just want him here. So I'm on the bed. I tried to lay on my side, tried to use the peanut ball, tried to do all of that, and I could not. For the life of me, it hurt so bad. And it wasn't like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just a lot of pressure. So the pressure was really like, no. Like, I feel like my legs were getting stuck. It was just too much. So then I had to lay on my back. Like, I was trying to avoid having to lay on my back because I know that's not the best position to deliver a baby in. But I did what I had to do. Laid on my back. The whole time I was in labor, like, I was controlling my breathing. I was doing all that. And then by that time, when I laid on my back, I started pushing and screaming. There was no controlled breathing, none of that. I just started screaming, like, get this baby out of me. So I did that, and it just seemed like it wasn't getting anywhere, which it probably wasn't, because I shouldn't have been screaming, but whatever. I felt like that's what I needed to do, so I did it. So they were like trying to move the cervical lip while I was pushing to get his head to come down. Like, he was literally like right there, but because I had that cervical lip, he couldn't come through. So they were moving it to the side. I'm pushing at the same time. Yeah. So then they had me squat on the side of the bed, and they're like, now we want you to push. Bear down, push. So I did that, and it still seemed like nothing was happening. Nothing was happening, and I wish I had some videos to insert in here, but the videos that I have are too graphic because I did not want any clothes on me. I didn't want anything, so yeah. But they told me to bear down, push. I did that, still nothing. So then I get back on the bed, and I try again, and they just kept saying, we can see his head, he's right there. And I literally felt like that was the case because I would push, but then I get tired. So I felt like I'm right here, and right when I felt like I was right there, I'd get tired and stop pushing. So then he would go back up, and I was like, come on, just push one good time, get his head through, and you're good. No, I wasn't good. I was in a lot of pain. So I'm holding my husband's arm, I'm pushing, squeezing the life out of his arm. I looked up at him and I said, I'm sorry for hurting you. Like, I just knew I was squeezing him so hard. And he was just like, it's okay. I know he was in pain, but he took it like a champ. So then I lay back on the bed, I start pushing again. We finally get somewhere, and they're like, I can see his head, he has a lot of hair. And at this point I'm like, okay, well, if you can see him, pull him out. And I know it doesn't work like that, but I'm like, bro, stop telling me that you can see him because he's not out. It's not helping me, which it, you know, in their minds, it is helping me because if they can see him, he's right there. All I have to do is push. No, in my mind, I'm like, stop telling me that because if he's not out, then he's not right there. So then they say that, and they're like, okay, we got about 10 more minutes of pushing and he'll be here. And I'm like, 10 minutes? When you're in labor, 10 minutes is like 6 hours. Way too much. So I just keep pushing, and then eventually he came out. And they laid him on my chest as soon as he came out, and he pooped. Mind you, I was 41 weeks and 2 days by this point. He pooped. So he came February 4th, 2022 at 4:56 a.m. And he was poopy. But I was thankful that it was on me and not in me, because that would have been a whole nother issue that I did not want to deal with. I did not want to be transferred to a hospital. I didn't want to be in a hospital atmosphere at all for this whole pregnancy. I didn't want to deal with that at all. So he came, they laid him on my chest. We didn't clean anything up. It sounds really gross, but we didn't clean anything up because I wanted to keep his umbilical cord attached until it stopped pulsating. Pulsating? Yeah. I wanted it to be completely white. I wanted all those nutrients to be back into him. And yeah. So we waited. He slept. We slept. I ate. And then we woke up. And that's when he got a bath. Then he got weighed. He got his measurements and all of that. And yeah. It was quite the experience. Oh, I didn't tell y'all the worst part. So he came out and they realized I had a tear. Not my video just stopping on me. Anyway, they realized I had a tear and she had to stitch me up. And the stitching was probably the worst part. Delivering the placenta was nothing. It was cake. Like, I didn't even realize that that's what was happening. But the stitching was the worst pain I've probably ever experienced in my life. Ever. So she stitched me up and it was just like I could barely move because it hurt so bad. So yeah, I just laid there. I was up right after because at the birthing center, you're only there for a couple hours and then they let you go home. If you feel like you need to be there longer, they let you stay a max of 24 hours and then you'd have to go to a hospital if for any reason you felt like you just couldn't go home after that. So I had him after they did all his measurements and stuff. We went home. Came home. The dog met him. And yeah. It was quite the experience, and I won't be doing it again until he's at least 4 or 5. I just can't. So that's my birth story. I probably dragged it out a lot longer than it actually was, but yeah. Again, thank y'all for watching. If you're new and you made it this far, I hope by now you have subscribed. You've liked this video and now you can comment since you've watched it. And if you are a returning subscriber, don't forget to like and comment. And I'll see y'all in the next video.